Please subscribe, like, and share. It really helps us out. And of course, if you have any questions, comment below, and we will answer you as soon as we can. Welcome to this video in our series on IGCSE Business Studies. This is Unit 6, Part 1. In today's lesson, we will be learning about economic issues. If you haven't seen our previous videos, click on the card above.
First off, let's look at the business or trade cycle. An economy will not always go through economic growth. There is usually a cycle, as shown here. There are several different parts of the business cycle. We will explore them here. Growth. When GDP is rising, unemployment is falling and there are higher living standards in the country. Businesses will look to expand and produce more and will earn high profits. Boom. When GDP is at its highest and there is too much spending, causing inflation to rapidly rise. Business costs will rise and firms will become worried about how they are going to stay profitable in the near future. Recession. When GDP starts to fall due to high prices, as demand and spending fall, firms will cut back production to stay profitable and unemployment may rise as a result. Slump. When GDP is so low that prices start to fall, deflation and unemployment will reach very high levels. Many businesses will close down as they cannot survive the very low demand level. The economy will suffer. When the government takes measures to increase demand and spending in the economy to take it from a slump to growth, it is called the recovery period. This is cyclical, so the cycle repeats.
The government will have a series of economic objectives. Here, we'll look at the different economic objectives a government might have and how their absence or negligence will affect the economy as well as businesses. Maintain economic growth. Economic growth occurs when a country's gross domestic product, or GDP, increases. For example, more goods and services are produced than in the previous year. This will increase the country's incomes and achieve greater living standards. What are the effects of a reducing GDP or recession? As output falls, fewer workers will be needed by firms, so unemployment will rise. As goods and services that can be consumed by the people fall, the standard of living in the economy will also fall.
Achieve price stability. Inflation is the increase in the average prices of goods and services over time. Note that inflation, in the real world, always exists. It is natural for prices to increase as the years go by. In the case there is a fall in the price level, it is called deflation. Maintaining low inflation will help the economy to develop and grow better. Effects of high inflation. As the cost of living will have risen and people's real incomes, the value of their income, will have fallen. When prices increase and incomes haven't, the income will buy fewer goods and services. This means that purchasing power has fallen. Prices of domestic goods will rise as opposed to foreign goods in the market. The country's exports will become less competitive in the international market. Domestic workers may lose their jobs if their products and firms don't do well. When prices rise, demand will fall and all costs will rise, as wages, material costs, overheads will all rise, causing profits to fall. Thus, they will be unwilling to expand and produce more in the future. The living standards, or quality of life, in the country may fall when costs of living rise.
Reduce unemployment. Unemployment exists when people who are willing and able to work cannot find a job. Low unemployment means high output, incomes, and living standards. Effects of high unemployment. Unemployed people do not produce anything and so, the total output or GDP in the country will fall. This will, in turn, lead to a fall in economic growth. Unemployed people receive no income, thus inequality can rise in the economy and living standards will fall. It also means that businesses will face low demand due to low incomes. The government usually pays out unemployment benefits to the unemployed. This will rise during high unemployment and the government will not have enough money left over to spend on other services like education and health.
Maintain balance of payment stability. This records the difference between a country's exports, goods and services sold from one country to another, and imports, goods and services bought in by one country from another country. The exports and imports need to equal each other, thus balanced. Effect of disequilibrium in the balance of payments. If the imports of a country exceed its exports, it will cause a depreciation in the exchange rate. This will cause the value of the country's currency to fall against other foreign currencies. If the exports exceed the imports, it indicates that the country is selling more goods than it is consuming. The country itself doesn't benefit from any high output consumption.
Reduce income inequality or achieve effective income redistribution. The difference or gap between the incomes of rich and poor people should narrow down for income equality to improve. Improved income equality will ensure better living standards and help the economy to grow faster and become more developed. Effects of poor income equality. Unequal distribution of goods and services means the poor cannot buy as many goods as the rich. The poor's living standards will continue to be low.
The government can influence the economic conditions in a country by taking a variety of policies. Firstly, fiscal policy is a government policy that adjusts government spending and taxation to influence the economy. It is the budgetary policy because it manages the government expenditure and revenue. The government aims for a balanced budget and tries to achieve it using fiscal policy. Increasing government spending and reduced taxes will encourage more production and increase employment, driving up GDP growth. This is because government spending creates employment and increases economic activity in the economy, and low taxes means people have more money to consume and firms have to pay less tax on their profits. On the other hand, reducing government spending and increasing taxes will discourage production and consumption, and unemployment and GDP will fall.
Monetary policy is a government policy that adjusts the interest rate and foreign exchange rates to influence the demand and supply of money in the economy, and thus demand and supply. It is usually conducted by the country's central bank and usually used to maintain price stability, low unemployment, and economic growth. Increasing interest rates will discourage investments and consumption, causing employment and GDP to fall. As the cost of borrowing, or interest on loans, has increased, and people prefer to earn more interest by saving rather than spending it. Similarly, reducing interest rates will boost investment, consumption, employment, and thus GDP.
Supply-side policies. Both the fiscal and monetary policies directly affect demand, but the policies that influence supply are very different. It can include privatization. Selling government organizations to private individuals. This will increase efficiency and productivity that increase supply as well as encourage competitors to enter and further increase supply. Improve training and education. Governments can spend more on schools, colleges, and training centers so that people in the economy can become better skilled and knowledgeable, helping increasing productivity. Increased competition. By acting against monopolies, these are firms that restrict competitors to enter that industry or having full dominance in the market, and reducing government rules and regulations. This is often termed deregulation. The competitive environment can be improved and thus become more productive.
Exam tip time. Remember that economic conditions and policies are all interconnected. One change will lead to an effect that will lead to another effect, and so on. This is like a chain reaction in many different ways. In your exams, you should take care to explain those effects that are relevant and appropriate to the business or economy in the question. How might businesses react to policy changes? It will depend varying on how much impact the policy change will have on the particular business, industry, and economy. Here are a few examples. This document is linked in the description below. Thank you for watching our video. Please like, subscribe and share. And comment below so we can clarify things for you.